I have a vision for the future. My vision is that computational thinking will be a fundamental skill used by everyone in the world by the middle of the 21st century. As fundamental as reading, writing, and arithmetic. By computational thinking, I really mean very informally thinking like a computer scientist. What that infers is, of course, teaching concepts in computer science. Now, I actually very much agree with many of my colleagues' remarks in terms of the challenge of having teachers trained in certain skills so they can actually teach these kinds of concepts. But let me speak first about how this vision is already playing out at the higher education levels. If you go to any university today, you will see graduate students, regardless of what field they are studying, using computational techniques, using abstraction and algorithmic thinking in tackling complex problems, whether they're majoring in journalism, art, engineering, physics, or any other discipline. So it is a given that trained professionals of the future will be using computational techniques as part of their repertoire of thinking skills, along with creative thinking, all kinds of mathematical and analytical thinking, and so on. The challenge is for society is, what does my vision imply for K through 12 education? What would it mean to teach computer science to all high school students, for instance? And in fact, when I was at the National Science Foundation, this was a challenge that I took up for the United States. And we made a lot of progress. There are high school teacher associations that now have developed curricula and programs to spread the teaching of computer science at the high school level. In the UK, primarily because of the British Royal Society report that came out in January 2012, there's been a tremendous effort and great progress in what is called computing at schools, which is to add honest-to-goodness computer science to high school education and even below high school. Now, I want to emphasize that when I talk about computer science at the high school level and below, I do not mean teaching what's sometimes called computer literacy, how to use Word and Excel and so on. That's a given as well. But that would not be really teaching the fundamental concepts of computing. I also don't mean just teaching computer programming. That's something that students pick up also along the way. I really mean something deeper. And I hinted at that already in terms of the kinds of abstractions that computer scientists invent in terms of tackling and solving large, complex problems. So I think the real challenge for my vision is the teacher training problem. You already mentioned how it's hard enough to get enough teachers who know science who can teach kindergartners. Well, if I wanted to add computer science to a kind of science to teach to kindergartners, that would be even more daunting a challenge, because most students don't even take computer science in high school, let alone have the ability eventually when they become a teacher to teach computer science. But I gave myself till the middle of the 21st century for my vision to carry out. So I gave myself a few years. Thank you.
Thank you.